few sample problems, just in case the pre-lesson didn't make sense, but I always throw a couple of zingers or different things in the example problems, so I'm glad you watched. Chop each tree down one at a time. What's the cubic root of -8? Well, negative times a negative times a negative gives us a negative, so it's possible. So that'd be -2, and then we, piece by piece, we take this part out, we go A, put the power in the top, index in the bottom, that reduces to just A. Take B to the 9th, put the power in the top, index in the bottom, B cubed. Done. Look at this one. Chop each tree down. This is a square root, of -9. Nope, that problem's mathematically impossible, so we don't even need to finish it. This one's a solve. Divide by 5, divide by 5, we get x cubed is, what would that be? 64. Okay. Well, you could just look at that and say, hey, my answer's 4. But they want you to probably practice taking the cubic roots of both sides, so then I get x is 4. Now, should I consider -4? Well, I should consider it, but -4 times -4 times -4 would not give me positive 64, so that's not my answer. 4 is. So, be careful. One more problem, I think. This last problem for sample problems is from your try it on page 243. It's number 6. And so if I can get the language right, it starts out, and I'm just going to read it so I don't screw this up. One cube has an edge length 3 centimeters shorter than the edge length of the second cube. Keep that in mind. So this one's obviously smaller. So they're talking one cube has edge length, what does it say? 3 centimeters shorter. So I'm going to call the bigger one X. All those are X's. And then the edges on this one are 3 centimeters shorter. Now, do I need to label all 3 of those? No. And then they tell us the volume of the smaller cube is 200. So clearly this one has to be smaller. So the volume is 200 cubic units. So that means this times this times this replaces my V volume. That's x minus 3 cubed equals 200. And the question is, what's the volume of the larger cube? So we got to find x and then multiply those together. So we got to find x from this information. We're going to take the cubic root here. Notice, I hope this is jumping out at you. For the first time, we do not have a perfect cubic root. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But this is going to be x minus 3, because these things essentially cancel, equals, we're like, what do we do with this? Well, let me grab my handy-dandy calculator, and I'll be right back. Okay, I showed my work a little, but now I'm going to explain it. I'm going to try not to forget about that x minus 3. That's still part of the problem, but I'm going to really focus on this right now. So how do I use my calculator to find the cubic root of a non-perfect cubic root? Well, the cubic root of 200, remember there's an invisible 1 right here. I'm going to rewrite it as, or think of it as, 200 to the 1/3 power. So I got to go to my calculator, type in 200. So here we go, 200. And then I'm going to hit right about here on my calculator, see if you can see it. Whoop, right here. There's this like carrot looking thing. I'm going to hit that. That's going to allow me to type in a power. See if you can see that. It's not focusing. So 200, I could focus it, but I'm not going to. 200, if I hit this little caret and then type in 1 divided by 3, my calculator will show 200 to the 1/3 power. And then you hit enter, and you get 5.8 approximately. Now that's what this is. So that's 5.8. So I got to add 3, So I get x is, well, that'd be 8.8. So I know this is 8.8. Now if I'm being asked to find the volume of the larger cube, then I got to multiply this by itself, and then multiply it by itself one more time. So I'm not going to bore you with me doing that. Grand finale. So 8.8 times 8.8 times 8.8 gives me approximately 681.47. But remember, we're finding the volume. The volume's in terms of cubic units. So that means there's 681 little tiny 1 by 1 by 1 by 1 cubes packed in there. So that's why we have to say cubic units. Try to wrap your brain around that. It's just a language and you'll get used to it. Good luck on your homework.